You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the February 7th, 2024 meeting of the Michigan City Parks and Recreation Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Welcome to the Michigan City Park Board meeting for February 7th. If you would rise and repeat the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will, would you call the roll?
Bill Freeze.
Here.
Diane Sperling.
Here.
Phil Glidden. Or Tim Glidden, I'm sorry. Roscoe Hoffman. Here.
Thank you. You have the minutes from the previous meeting, January 17th. Are there any corrections or additions? If not, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose. Motion carried.
Any project updates?
Not tonight.
Old business?
None.
Table business?
None tonight.
Start on our new business. Item A, Harbor Country Adventures request to place stage and concession stand in Millennium Plaza. And they received a handout on that with picture and drawing and an explanation dealing with the cover for the stage. Are there any questions on the board?
This looks super cool.
How big is the pad? The stage is gonna be on the cement pad?
Correct.
The
It's the stage is approximately 23 feet wide, the covering, and I think it's 21 or 22 feet deep. So it's all aluminum trussing, and then it has a umbrella-like fabric, so you can keep the fabric on. You can take it down in the winter time. If it's a really sunny day, you can, if you want, you can roll it partially up to get a cross breeze through there. All it would require is the plates would fasten and be secured, screwed into the concrete on top of the pad. So no big holes, the pipe's not going in there, anything like that.
So it's kind of a semi-permanent?
Yeah, I mean, you could leave it up year round. I had it designed and spec'd out of aluminum, so it won't rust. I think that would probably be the best thing to do, and then take the cover off it in the winter time so it doesn't get torn up or discolored or anything. But I would doubt you'd want to keep taking those anchors in and out of the concrete so you don't start reaming that concrete out and making them holes big. You could take it all down. It's set where you could take the whole structure down and just leave the plates, the base plates on the concrete, if you're so inclined to do that.
That cover you were talking about, we would be able to remove the cover. I'm assuming it's something kind of like a tarp.
Correct. Yeah, it's made out of it's a umbrella like fabric. So it's their newest stuff. So if the birds poop on it, when it gets hot, it basically disintegrates the poop, and you can take it off if you want to wash it, anything like that. I didn't spec out any particular color because I thought, if I was fortunate enough that you guys would let me go forward, then it doesn't matter to me what color it is. If anybody's got a preference. I mean, I was kind of looking fine into the colors because the closest building of reference, excuse me, is the museum behind me. So, I mean, we don't want to put up a yellow cover, and that building's got all these nice grays and greens and neutral tones on it. So
Any other questions, comments?
Does this have to be approved by any other departments in Michigan City?
I'm not aware of that. I took it to, I started with, Pat Volts and had him come out and look at it as I was putting the proposal together and getting measurements, make sure I was getting it all done. I don't know how, I come to the meetings but I don't know the pecking order for the city.
Yeah, the only reason I asked Shana, because we had that kind of situation recently with Sunset Grill, with how they had, that was approved and then they had to go back and get something stronger.
Yeah, I can definitely call on one of the city inspectors to take a look at this before he proceeds. I don't believe so because it's not considered permanent.
Okay, well, especially since he's paying for it, I wouldn't want him to
Right.
invest and then they come
Yeah,
and say that's not
Call
gonna
them
work.
out. Yeah, take a look at this.
And I would also just like to say, I obviously, for people that don't know me, my name is Victor from Harbor Country Adventures. I have the tour boats here. I don't ever plan on leaving. I love Michigan City. I think we have so many wonderful things. I count my blessings every day to be fortunate enough to be here.
Awesome.
In the event though, if you guys decided to do something else with the plaza or you got tired of me, it would stay. I'm not buying it to put up, and it would stay.
Yeah.
And if you want to
Thank you.
prepare something, I am more than happy to gift that to the city
Yeah, well, that's very nice of you.
and leave it. Well, even after I'm gone.
Yeah.
Because that stage, it needs a cover.
Mm.
Nobody rents it because you're not gonna be a bride and groom out there in the middle of July trying to do your vows and you got sweat pouring off because that ain't looking good for pictures.
That's
So,
right.
but it needs some sort of cover.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, I only asked that question because we just had a situation, so I just wouldn't want you to invest your money and then
No,
find out that it's not.
I wouldn't want either if I couldn't use it.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Any other comments? Comments from the public?
Like,
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for the information. It looks like a great addition. If there aren't any comments, do we have a motion to accept the
you want the
with
city
the,
inspector to look at it
yeah.
first?
with the, I don't know how we would word that.
Point.
Contingent. City inspectors.
Yeah, Ken.
I would move that we move forward with the request to place a stage at a concession stand at Millennium Plaza, contingent on the approval of the city inspection department.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for all the work you did getting that information. Thank you. We have a memorandum of understanding with Mr. Wellman for e-foil lessons.
Yeah, so the board recalls this came up, last year, the board at the time was in favor of this, as am I. However, Mr. Wellman asked for, to reduce or remove the workers' comp liability that's in our contract. So he had to apply with the state of Indiana for a waiver stating that he is a sole proprietor with no employees. He was finally granted that waiver. It took some time. So I would recommend that we move forward with the agreement in front of you tonight.
Thank you for the update.
You're welcome.
Comments from the board? Diane wanted to know if she got first rights to sign up early. Any comments from public? Do we have a motion dealing with this memorandum of understanding that has been corrected?
I would move that we accept the memorandum of understanding with Ryan Wellman for e-foil lessons.
I'll second that, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next business item is the Michigan City Historical Society 2024 to 2034 Old Lighthouse lease.
Yes, just to give the board a little bit of background, Michigan City Historical Society has leased the old lighthouse building, which is owned by the city and under the jurisdiction of this board since 1965. The most recent lease, written lease, was in 1989. And then that had been renewed a couple of times just by a letter and motion of the board. So I'd like to thank our attorney. She did a lot of research on the proper procedures and IC codes that govern a lease of this type, because it's not the same as an office space. It's a nonprofit, it's a museum. So she did a great job doing the research. We updated the language. I did put a term in here of 10 years instead of going out 20 or 30, which this board can do. Only because I think it needs to be reviewed on a more frequent basis. So the insurance requirements in the lease that is still current today until May, I think it was $500 for the liability. So we need an opportunity more frequently to go through here, update terms if laws change, update insurance. So the co-presidents of the Historical Society have signed the lease, and it's been approved by our insurance and our attorney. And I would recommend that the board approve it tonight.
Yes, it's from May 1 of this year to April 30 of 34.
Correct.
I read through it. It's pretty basic. I appreciate the effort and all the information that you have provided for us. Are there any questions, comments from the board? Comments from the public dealing with the old lighthouse? Seeing none, do we have a motion to accept the lighthouse, the old lighthouse lease for 10 years?
I would move that we accept the old lighthouse lease for 2024 to 2034.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
The fourth quarter report for 2023, looking through here, I really would like to thank all the department heads and Shannon for the amount of work that goes into totaling up all these numbers and statistics. And I realize many of you have not had an opportunity to look through this, but it's just amazing what this park department and all the supervisors and workers have accomplished in 1 year. And the numbers just kind of jump out and they're just amazing. I mean, I look at for example, the holiday lights, 2,303 man hours. To think about that.
Just for
That's just
clarification, this is only the fourth quarter.
only the fourth quarter, not the annual.
12 weeks worth of.
I know, I can't wait for the annual. Anyhow, the fourth quarter, so this has taken place in the last quarter, and they're just, that's one statistic that is amazing. Anybody else have comments?
Yeah, I do. Pat, you guys did a ton of stuff. I think I'd like to come by and take a tour. It sounds kind of amazing.
Can't, he's busy.
Yeah, I can't believe how much stuff you guys did. That's awesome. I mean, it is. I think it's important to keep all that up, especially for the morale and people working there, and that's awesome. I did have a question about the senior center, about the membership going down so much. I hope that's not for a reason that, I'm thinking, but
Yes, I think the senior center membership, they just got a new tracking system. I think it was in 2021, but it was mid-year. So they started actually tracking their members and then cleaning up their old archaic database that had people in there that may not even
oh gosh. Okay, so it is a little bit of what I was thinking, but not as bad as
purge.
we didn't wipe out a third of our population.
Yeah, so they
Okay.
purged their database and now they're able to track members as they come in the door. They can track what programs they're going to.
Yeah.
So that's working out well. You guys didn't see it last year because we didn't have a full year to compare it to, so we don't want to give you half the data.
Yeah.
So now it's all cleaned up with the full year, but that's the reason.
Yeah, this is really small, but on that same page, the leaves under Hanson Park, went from 0 hours last year to 223. There must be, unless you planted a bunch of trees this year, maybe it was just a mistake.
some of it can just be the timing of when we can get to what park. If we've got a crew having to focus on trees down or something like that. This year we were able to split up a little bit more. So we were able to focus on some of the other parks. We did spend more time in quite a few of the parks with the acorns and everything else. So
Right. Yeah. It was just a small thing, but I was just curious. Yeah, thank you. On page 10, the irrigation, I mean, that went down 100, almost 100%. Irrigation in gallons right in the middle there.
For the golf course.
Yeah.
Right, so that was due, I did ask the green superintendent about that. There was a sentence in there that explains that in October, there was 5.25 inches of
Right.
rainfall
Yeah.
and it was cool. So
Right.
that is an accurate number.
Well, I guess maybe the coolness isn't on here because last year there was 4.25 inches, so wasn't too far off of to be that big of a difference.
Yeah, but he assured me those are accurate numbers.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's great. The under equipment, page 11, it says there's 3 snack shop carts that are completed. So does that mean they're gonna go out in carts on the golf course and sell food products? And is that what that means?
It's gotta be a typo. Marty, there's only one. Where's Marty? What's that?
There's 2 cards that we use for outings, that we let the outing use to transport the area around. We only have one best card.
So there are 3.
Okay, so it says we have 3 carts, but really we have 1 beverage cart
Mhm.
that we use just for outings, and we also use weekends for selling. But we also have 2, they're more or less maintenance carts that we loan out for, or well, we rent out for outings
Oh,
that the people can use for putting their beer in and driving around on the golf
Okay.
course. So
okay.
I'm sure that refers to all 3 of those because
Yeah.
we use them basically for that.
Yeah, okay.
I'll clarify that, change the wording.
Yeah, I was just curious. I didn't even know that there were carts that went out. So carts go out on the weekends to sell.
Yeah, we've got a
Beverage.
nice beverage cart that'll go out on weekends and we get cart employees out there selling.
Yeah, that's
We
awesome.
try to go, hot days, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Any other comments? Comments from the.
I do.
Okay.
Hmm.
I was just looking at the variance for the net. Therefore, between 22 and 23, it's saying the variance is a negative 33,744, which doesn't really make sense there if our variance percentage is a positive 44%. Unless I'm seeing that incorrectly.
Are you looking at the financial
the-
report on page 13?
On page 11,
Page
the
11.
golf pro department, it looks like it was actually a positive variance. It should have been a positive 33,744. Am I saying that correct, or I see it in?
It is, but the losses are negatives. So we had a loss of less than 33,744.
Oh, okay.
So I think it just, the formula,
I'm saying, yeah, so the
yeah, I see
formula,
what you're saying though.
yeah,
But if it was a negative, it'd mean we lost 33,000 more than 2022, which is.
exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I had another one. On page 13 at the top, the financial report for the zoo. The total expense shows that it went up by $65,000 compared to last year, fourth quarter, which is about 20% higher.
So the majority of that is wages.
Is it?
So there was a large increase in wages citywide
Mhm.
last year.
Mhm.
And then they were able to keep a few more employees. They still have a lot of vacant positions, but when you see the annual report, you can see that.
Yeah, that's, which is so much easier to look at. Yeah, and then, yeah, and weren't there a couple positions added to the zoo this year that maybe started in January, right? That started last January, yeah.
Well, one
Right,
was at
okay.
the end of 22, and then the other was at the beginning of 23. So
Okay.
There's two requests.
Got it.
in there.
And then, okay, just two more things real quick. Love the Santa letter thing. That I can't believe it was only $100 to do that whole project. That was such a cool thing that our city did, I think. And then, oh, on the front page, the Memorial Hall rentals, they were on such a skyrocketing, incline with the sales. I was just surprised that that went down so much. They're usually crushing it over there. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
yeah.
I mean, the fourth quarter is usually our slowest quarter. You'll
But
get a
it's-
couple holiday parties, but there's so many holidays, people
Yeah.
just don't book as much.
Right. But it's comparing it to the fourth quarter last year. So I was just, just curious.
Well, keep in mind too, last year, 2022 and the end of 2022 and 2021 or 22, I'm getting confused. When the pandemic kind of broke,
Yeah.
all of our rentals skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Because people just were getting back out in the world and wanting to have their parties and their
Yeah.
weekends. I can take a look at that.
So maybe that was still kind of, coming off from that. And I'm sure Cindy would probably know off the top of her head.
Yeah, after
Right,
your
Kat?
office staff, they track that
Yeah.
closely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Other questions, comments? From the public, any comments or questions? Normally, we used to table this and allow public to look at it. In the past few years, there hasn't been any response. And so I'm looking for a motion to accept the fourth quarter report.
I move that we accept the fourth quarter report.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
We have a service agreement with Specialized Services for LLC for the golf course services.
Yes. So, Will and I met with Tony Staley, who performs these services for us. And I didn't want to bring this contract to the board at the end of last year until we met with him because there's a fairly large increase of $10,000 this year. And we wanted to be assured that the training that we need to get our staff up to speed to be able to take over these services was proper, that the timeline was proper. After we met with Mr. Staley, he's got a lot of golf knowledge. I was very comfortable with him and his plan. He did make a few comments. I guess I thought this was a 1-year thing. People can be licensed and ready to go in a year. But he kind of explained to us that our course on the maintenance side doesn't have much experience except for the current drain superintendent who was recently promoted. So we are doing a comparison now of regional courses and trying to figure out like how many people they have and how much experience they have, which justifies this contract. But that made a lot of sense to me. The two new assistants really have no golf course maintenance experience. So you have one person.
Mhm.
We used to have 5.
Wow.
So that in my mind justifies the contract. I was happy with the way the education pieces are laid out in here.
Mhm.
So I would definitely recommend that the park board approve this and we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Make sure our staff is hitting those educational benchmarks,
Mhm.
moving towards their licenses. 2 of them are working on them. And then again, we're going to continue to assess what are the other courses doing. Do they have like 300 years of experience in their maintenance department compared to our 26?
Mhm.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I was reading through this in Article 5, the amount there, I kind of closed my eyes and thought again, but then after reading through all the articles that you had included in here, I think very justified. I do know it's an important part of maintaining our golf course. So, yeah, I don't have any other questions. Anybody else have questions about the personal service agreement? Any comments from the public? If not, they have a motion to accept this personal service agreement as printed.
I would move that we accept the professional services agreement between the park board and Tony Staley of Specialized Services.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We have a seasonal golf assistant manager job description.
So this assistant position was put in our 2024 budget during last year's budget process. However, the board's never approved the actual job description. I know it was prepared by the previous superintendent, and I think Marty, you had some input on it. But I've revised this to not mirror the golf manager's duties so much, but to be more of a financial position. As everyone knows, we've had some gaps in inventory control, profit and loss for our concession area. And later on the agenda, you'll see a resolution, but we're going to ask the board to allow us to take the retail operation in-house this year. So that's going to require financial reporting and inventory control. So it does also say that this person will cross-train with the golf manager to be able to do those duties in his absence. But I think it's a good description of what we're looking for. If this is approved tonight, we do have our first interview this Friday. We'd like to hire someone and get them in and start training as soon as possible, hoping that the weather breaks early and the course is open in March would be ideal. So I'd be happy to answer any questions they have.
Do we have a pay range?
It's $18 per hour. It's seasonal, not full-time, no benefits.
So with it being seasonal, what was that in here? I thought this was a really good job description, by the way, but start date and end date kind of. Was
There
it?
really isn't.
Oh,
because
geez.
we're
Oh, yeah, but
Depends on when the season starts. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like if it's really bad next year through
Yeah.
March, we might not bring them on till the end of March.
Hmm.
But because it's new
Mhm.
and this retail operation is new, we've got a lot to learn. We've got a lot to set up.
You're right.
So I'm guessing in a regular season, it would probably be end of February through November. Does that sound right, Marty?
Well, and I guess, I mean, if we're looking to hire them right away, like Friday, we would probably have to give them not to hire them Friday, but to start it, we'd have to give them a start date. And there'd be a lot of work to be done anyway, regardless of the weather, right?
Yeah.
Like just to get them
Sure.
on board.
Set up all these new systems.
Right.
They need to be set up properly,
Mhm.
so we can get the financial reporting that we require in our office
Right.
to manage the course properly.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I had two questions, but you answered them already.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Any comments from the public? If not, do you have a motion to accept the job description of the assistant golf course manager?
I would move that we accept the golf assistant manager's job description.
I'll second that, sir.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
We have a number of resolutions, starting with 1038. And I'll read the preamble for all of them except one that is a little different. Whereas the superintendent of the Department of Park and Recreation has reported that certain transfers of funds are necessary within the budget of the Michigan City Department of Park and Recreation because of unanticipated expenses from various accounts, which accounts do not have sufficient funds available for distribution for said expenses. And whereas there are funds available for said purposes in various other accounts, which are not expected to be paid from said accounts during the remainder of the budget year. And whereas the Michigan State Park and Recreation Board has determined that said expenses are necessary and that the account transfer should be made in order to meet the expenses. Now therefore be it resolved that the following transfers be made from the following named accounts to the following named accounts for the purpose stated therein. The first one we have is decreased fund 2204.506 senior center fund contractual $629 and to increase fund 2204.506 senior center fund other supplies $629. Do we have a motion to approve that transfer?
A motion to accept resolution number 1038.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And resolution 1039. We have, this one's a little different. After the preamble and the amount, so I'll read the first part is the same. And then we have decreased golf non-reverting fund 2508, an appropriate balance of $75,000, increased golf fund 2508000.429.013, golf pro merchandise of 75,000. Be it further resolved that this matter be presented before the next regular meeting of Michigan City Common Council for petition to said Common Council to pass an additional appropriation ordinance approving said additional appropriation in the manner required by law. Be it therefore resolved that the Superintendent Department of Parks and Recreation shall seek the concurrence of the Mayor of Michigan City upon said appropriation immediately. And it's dated today, the 7th of February, 2024.
Mr. President, Will and I met with the mayor to kind of go over golf course operations, and she is in favor of taking the retail operation in-house, and she's in favor of this transfer. And we also talked with the city controller, and we do have funds in our unappropriated balance. So she was also in favor of the transfer. And then attached is an inventory list. Marty and I looked at what was sold in 2023, kind of projected out what we think we can sell. 75,000 is probably too much for merchandise for our first year. But on my optimistic side, I don't want to go back for another appropriation if we are hugely successful earlier in the season, because it can take 8 to 10 weeks and we can lose our whole sales with it. So we're putting in a higher amount. Of course, we won't spend what we're not selling, but that kind of protects us year end.
Yeah, I thought the inventory list here was very good. I didn't realize some of these, not being a golfer, some of these things I didn't understand, but by golly, I don't know what else you could have left out. Anybody have any?
And we'll have the
comments?
ability to track the inventory and have a report monthly.
Yes. So I'm going to require monthly profit and loss statements, not just inventory, but both. I want to see inventory control, waste, loss, what's still in stock at the end of the month, and then what's our profitability.
And that's all
We
through
have that ability.
Golf Now, right?
Now.
Yeah. So that was in place even last year. So everything that we sell, is
So
in
we
there.
have the capability, we just aren't using the systems properly to get the information that we really need.
Yeah, it'll be great. Mhm.
Any other comments? Comments from the public? Hearing none, we have a motion to accept resolution number 1039.
I move that we accept resolution number 1039.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
And I'm sorry, Phil, I know you're not supposed to comment after, it's been approved, but, Shannon was talking about, the software hasn't been used to its capability. And I was just wondering who's going to do the training, for the software? Is somebody going to be sent in from the company that?
We have that ability. I'm pretty savvy when it comes to point of sale systems. I have limited capacity to be out there all the time. But I think if we start early enough and we set it up properly, it'll be minimal training. And I would definitely step in. If we need to hire the company, we will. I really think we can handle most of it in-house.
All right, thank you.
Because I'm subbing it out to Will. I just haven't told him yet.
What?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Denton. Any other comments? Move on to resolution 1040. And this preamble is the same as the first one. And it's a decrease in Fund 2204.502 Administrative Fund Seasonal Wages of $1,000 and an increase in Fund 2204.502 Administrative Fund Clothing and Safety Supplies of $1,000. Comments, questions from the board? Any comments from the public? We have a motion to accept resolution number 1040.
I move that we accept resolution 1040.
I shall second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And the next item is a fun item and it's not a new item for our agenda, but it's really pretty cool. It's the 2024 Easter egg hunt proposal. It's really is a special event. And I know, not being a kid, but I know the kids really love this, and I think the parents do too. Yes.
Good evening, Board. Eric Williams, Michigan City Special Events. So the request is to host the Easter egg hunt in Fetters Alley on Saturday, March 30th. That is the Saturday before Easter. We would like to have setup begin at 10 a.m. Fetters Alley would open to the participants at 11:30, and the hunt itself would start at 12. We anticipate being out of the park by 1:30 p.m. For anyone that has attended, as you know, the actual egg hunt lasts about 1 minute and 30 seconds. So we plenty of time there. I've reached out to Tara Miller, the senior center director. She has agreed to allow us access to work with the seniors on stuffing eggs Wednesday, March 27th from 9 a.m. to noon. Last year we did about 17,000 eggs. That is not a typo. It is tons of eggs. And again, about 1 minute and 30 seconds. We will have recycling bins placed throughout Fetters Alley. We do leave the grounds as clean as we find them. And other than that, if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? No, I'm sure the senior center group would enjoy it. I mean, with the way they answered, played Little Elves and answered the Christmas card. That was Christmas letters are pretty neat. So I'm sure that they'll be back to their childhood days.
I had a question. Do they fill 17,000 eggs in 3 hours?
No, actually, there's tons between the seniors. We have other volunteers from the city, police department, fire department.
Yeah.
So we start with we do a continental breakfast, and then we provide them lunch. So they fill them quickly. So
That's awesome.
And you go there and we'll talk about organized confusion. There's a lot of activity going on to stuff those eggs and to eat.
That's cool.
Any comments? It's a great idea. I'm glad Michigan City has something like this. Do we have a motion then to accept the 2024 Easter egg hunt proposal as dates printed?
I move that we accept the Easter egg hunt for 2024.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we have a license agreement regarding the Esplanade. Darius Drillinga, the Esplanade Restoration Project. You have a very thorough explanation in front of you. So I don't have to read all the native plant, the species, not being a botanist.
Mr. President, this is very similar to the last two license agreements. It's actually almost identical, just a different property, but I would like to update the board. The city has hired a city forester. So he started about 10 days ago. So now we do have someone to review these, go on site, talk to the landscape contractors and actually sign off on these applications. So he has reviewed this one and approves of it. And I'm happy to welcome Mike Wolf because we have a lot of tree work that's to be done.
Thank you. I was wondering about that. I know we had several, but then they move on. Other questions about this agreement to clear out the Esplanade? And at 1018 Lakeshore Drive? Comments from the public? Do we have, thank you for that update, Shannon. Do we have a second, or a motion, I mean, to accept this license agreement?
I would move that we accept a license agreement regarding the Esplanade.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We have information dealing with our 2024, excuse me, city kids day camp. With the dates, the time, the cost, a nice picture of the brochure or poster they're gonna put out. And the form to sign up. And participation waiver and medical authorization from the parent or guardian.
Did we fully staff it last year?
We did.
Yeah, we did.
And those opportunities are out there now?
Yeah.
Or they wait for this?
There's a ton of applications already turned in and we've already started interviewing people already.
Cool.
So, I mean, it's a lot of people that want to be part of City Kids Day Camp this year.
Great.
Thank you. I noticed there's a slight increase in cost, however, go to the grocery store if you want to see an increase.
No kidding.
Well,
Any other questions from?
yeah, real quick. Are the applications online?
Yes, the applications will be online. You mean for the job?
Yeah, for the positions.
Yeah, yes, they're all online.
All right, because I've had a few college students call me and say they want to do this.
Okay,
So I'm trying to figure out when to send them and where to send them.
okay.
Get
I
the
mean,
app.
we've been posting about all our summer, our seasonal jobs and everything online. We'll continue to do that, and I can send you the information myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there must 6 of them that called me asking about it because they want to be counselors and things like that. So,
Okay.
It's nice to hear we have
Yeah.
people interested already.
it was interesting. They all thought I can hire them.
And you told them that's true. Right?
No, I did not. Get you to the right people.
Any other questions or comments? Any from the public? Okay, do we have a motion to accept the 2024 City Kids Day Camp dates and charges?
I would move that we accept the packet for the 2024 City Kids Day Camp.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Did we have a communique here from Jamie Huss dealing with the zoo, approve extension of zoo operating dates and that are printed. Matter of fact, she would like to operate through November. And she gives a reasoning for that and the hours.
Mr. President, Jamie called and she apologized if she could not make the meeting tonight. She's got a sick child. So if the board has a lot of questions on this, it would be fine if you tabled it. However, I think it's fairly simple. We've talked about this for years. She's found a way to generate extra revenue with no additional employee expenses. And it also opens up some opportunities for people. A lot of people like to get out in the fall and the winter. And the animals act different. It's a different experience. And it also gives more opportunities for field trips. As most of you know, our field trips fill up very quickly. We're running like 4,000 to 6,000 kids through the zoo, and they're almost always in April and May. So this gives some opportunity once school gets back in to do some fall trips. So I think it's a fantastic idea. I applaud her for looking for ways to make revenue while not generating additional expenses. So I'm very much in favor of trying this out at least for a year.
And I'm sure Jamie has, because she's very organized. Is she going to notify the surrounding schools that they will now be open in the fall?
Yeah, she'll definitely promote that we're open to the general public, to the schools. She'll also have updates like weather related if there's an ice storm or something making it dangerous for that day. So she's got a really good following on social media, so she'll adjust as needed.
Good idea.
Yeah, great idea.
Questions, comments from the board?
Great idea.
Yeah, Brian?
Quick question. What's the closing time of the zoo now?
It's seasonal hours. They close. The gates close at 3 prior to Memorial Day, and you have to be out by 4. And then Memorial Day to Labor Day, its gates close at 4, and you have to be out by 5.
Okay. She answered my question, over answered my question. I was in the month, like when is, I'm sorry, I should have clarified that for you because it's going to go through November. And when does it close now? October?
October 31st.
October, okay. So you're going to get an extra month in there.
So we're extending just a month,
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
And when does it open? Is it April 1st?
April 1st.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Do we have a motion then to accept the extended operating dates for Washington Park Zoo?
I would move that we approve the extension of the zoo operating dates.
I'll second that, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we move on to the report of officers, superintendent's report. Shannon?
Thank you. I'd like to report, in 2024, we are resuming our regular staff meetings. We meet twice a month. Yesterday was our meeting and we had training on budgets, how to properly do your variance reports. We discussed OSHA regulations and safety in all of our departments. So we use these staff meetings not only to communicate amongst ourselves and communicate directives from the administration, but we also use it for training purposes, which I think is great because a lot of people don't realize that our department's so diverse. So you have people that are great at report writing and stats. You have people that are great at fixing equipment or taking care of animals. So it's always good if we can bring our staff together and do some training, find out people's strengths, and then cooperate and use each other's strengths to get things done. So I'm happy that we're meeting again. All of our departments right now are accepting applications for seasonal employment. So those can be found on the city's website. And then Kayla in our office is also doing targeted hiring, social media ads for the golf course and maintenance and day camp. So it's not one just big list that people are looking at. So she's doing a great job with that. Will and I were asked to participate on the YMCA's advisory committee. They are embarking on a new strategic plan. They have a new CEO coming on board and they've asked us to sit in on the process and offer information that we've garnered from our master plan outreach and input. I think this is a great turning point of the city and the park and the why to start looking at partnerships to stop duplicating programs and start enhancing programs. So we're really excited that they invited us and they are very happy that we've accepted. We did meet with Sunset Grill on January 18th just to excuse me, discuss their startup operations. No big surprises coming down the pipeline. As I mentioned, we have a new city forester, Mike Wolf, so that's great. He'll be reviewing our agreements and assisting us with tree work in the city. We're finalizing our 2023 annual report and expect to have that to you at your next meeting. I'm sad to report after submitting a letter of intent to the Health Foundation of LaPorte for the Fetters Alley all-inclusive playground and fitness park that our project was not accepted in their first round of funding. We do plan to apply for round 2 of the funding, which is in June of this year. And I'll also be seeking other grant opportunities. So we're still waiting on Mervan's funding, which is $1 million. If that comes through, we still have $1 million gap. So we're also starting what will be a very robust fundraising campaign. The mayor's agreed to head that up. She has a lot of great business connections. So I think our goal of 100 to 200,000 is really low. So I'm excited to work on that, and we'll get the funding. I was just kind of disappointed we didn't get invited to apply. Regarding our parking lots at Patriot Park, Mr. Glidden contacted me. The Port City Parks is looking at a new parking lot for Kessling ball fields. And the price was quite low, 46,000, but I reached out to them. It's only for 30 spaces. So if we were to do our Patriot Park parking lots paved like they're doing, it would cost us 566,000. So I think the option still is looking at gravel, fine lots, not completely asphalt surfacing, so we can get part of it done quickly. So we're still working on that. I have discussed that with our new city engineer, Tim Warner. He comes from NDOT, and he recently started as well. So I sent him Patriot Park and then the Washington Park parking lots. So City Event Director Terry Gratham and I have been working on trying to increase parking spaces, looking at the master plan, but kind of going outside of some of that because the master plan would be hugely expensive. And he's identified some areas around North Point Pavilion that we think could be cost effective to pave and open up about 300 parking spaces. So the city engineer is reviewing that right now. He's going to give us at least like a budgetary cost estimate to start the process. And then regarding Millennium Plaza, we just received a proposal from Tim Haas. And the proposal's $15,800. It's a not to exceed figure. I just reviewed it today, but the proposal is to come up with an assessment study for the fountain and budgetary costs for two options, either demolish the fountain or restore it back into a working order. Most of you know it's in very, very, very poor shape. We've been doing costly Band-Aid approaches to get it to work, but it's really at the point where the city needs to decide, are we going to invest in a new system or are we going to demolish it? So I'll be bringing that proposal to you at your next meeting. We do have funding around 13,000 in our Millennium Fund, which is a non-reverting fund. And that's revenue from selling the engraved bricks that you see down in the plaza. So I did put a call into the city controller to see if that would be an appropriate use of those funds. I believe it will be. And then we can cover the rest in our one of our contractual accounts. The only kind of glitch if demolition is chosen, some of you will remember that the fountain was dedicated to Roger McKee. So it's the Roger McKee Memorial Fountain. There's a plaque down there. So if we do demolish it, we need to do a little work with his family and find an appropriate place. I guess not, it can't be the fountain anymore. So we would have to dedicate something else in his memory. So just keep that in mind, or if anybody has any ideas, I will reach out to his son, Bob. We'll have the recreation report, nothing from the zoo. Pat Volz is here to do a report on maintenance. We already talked about spray tech. The golf maintenance staff will be traveling to a free trade show in Fort Wayne on February 14th. So this is a great learning opportunity for them, and there's no charge. Pat's going to lend them a city vehicle, so we won't have to pay mileage. And then lastly, the Senior Center Trash and Treasure Sale will be held this year on Saturday, April 6th. And that's from 8 to 1 p.m. That completes my report.
Do we have any vandalism?
We had 3 picnic tables destroyed at Canada Park, which will cost us $150 in materials and then our labor.
Thank you. Any questions for Superintendent? Well, thank you for a very thorough report. Will?
Yes, we have the pantries in the park that's still picking up momentum, and we get in emails and calls about the activity that's going on around the pantries in both Gardenia and in Walker Park. People seeing that the community is self-stocking them, seeing people go up and use the food and stuff that's inside of them. We did have some kids that broke into one at Walker Park, but I mean, too bad. Just kids being kids. They could have did a lot worse. The Park and Rec Adult Basketball League just finished up week 5. They play at Barker on Sundays at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the last game starts at 12:30. That's been going pretty good. Kayla and I are working on events that will coincide with the Easter egg hunt, the same week of Easter, doing the kids craft day and showing a free viewing of Peter Rabbit at the library to kind of have a Easter week for the city, something for the kids to get out and do. And we'll present that at the next meeting. And baseball signups are underway already. We have about 60 kids that have already signed up. Everybody still gets a $5 discount for signing up before Valentine's Day. So a lot of people are taking advantage of the early signups. And that's all I have for today.
Questions for Will? Thank you. No further questions. We'll move on to liaison. Mr. Hoffman, Planning Commission liaison.
I don't have anything to report. So the meeting for the 16th was canceled. The next meeting is February 27th.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Port Authority, I did go to the meeting on Monday. It was short, and there was nothing that concerned the Park Department. Mr. Glidden, the Zoological Society.
The Zoological Society's next meeting is Tuesday at 5:30, Tuesday the 13th, and they're setting up their schedule for the summer.
Thank you. Attorney's report.
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
Director's reports. Mr. Volt. Park Maintenance.
Good evening, board. So January is normally our slow month. Gives us a chance to kind of catch our breath. We usually spend the time planning for summer. However, this year was unique. 2 weekends in a row, we had big snows. We ended up aiding the city with snow removal. That basically meant most of the staff went 3 weeks straight. We ended up with, on the big storm, we had a total of 327 labor hours helping the city, 385 gallons of gas, 145 gallons of diesel, $566 of repair parts. That's just in the aid for that weekend. I am proud of the staff. I'm proud of how hard they worked. Most of the shifts were anywhere from 10 to 14 hours.
Wow.
I was proud to be part out there with them. So they all worked very hard, took a lot of pride in what they were doing. We also had 2 tree removals due to the storm. Believe it or not, going from that, the weather took a complete turn the other direction. We've had staff out on the beach helping clean up. We've had quite a few visitors out on the beach now. So they've been out on the beach doing some cleanup. As far as the Christmas lights, we have everything down from the downtown area. And we are down to 3 small displays in Washington Park. Hope that if the rain holds off, we get those down this week and Christmas is all put away. So we actually, as much as we were behind because of the snow, we actually got a little ahead. So, and then lastly, we completed 30 painting and building 30 barricades to add to our rotation. So,
you guys were busy, sir.
So yeah. So,
Thank you so much.
I appreciate that.
Thank the
So,
staff.
staff worked very hard this month. So
I think I know the answer, but are you fully staffed now?
well, Councilman, we could use some more seasonals if you have any more applicants send them our way too. We're fully staffed with our full-time staff, but right now we have 1 seasonal on staff with us.
So you're really looking for someone or some people for the summer months coming up?
Yes.
Uh, what would they, give me an example of what they might be doing?
Well, Patriot Park, that would be all athletic field work. It'd be, helping with the tournaments on the weekend, custodial work. Again, that's working with the, hall rentals as well as the, public restrooms throughout our parks. And then, maintenance, it could be, working with the, flower staff, working with us as far as events and, general day-to-day care of the parks.
Now, I'm just curious in case someone asks, give them an idea of
So,
what they might be doing.
and we're flexible. If they don't know what they want to do, we can let them take turns. until
You
they find
convince
that
them.
spot.
Yeah, okay, good idea.
So you can keep them busy.
Yes.
Definitely.
So,
Now, so you were saying you're looking for seasonal help. Now, how many are you looking, just for one, or
oh no, many. Again, we usually,
ballpark figure?
between all those departments, we'll probably be looking for at least 20.
Oh,
Is there a minimum age?
We prefer over 18, 17, we can work with still.
Yeah.
17 has a little limitations when it comes to the hall rentals and that there's time issues there, but other than that, yeah,
do they need a driver's
we would
license?
prefer it, but again, we will work with the individual.
And a quick question I have is, we were talking about the seasonals being posted to the website. Are these out there as well to show that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. And obviously, Shannon didn't start yelling that you're obviously budgeted for these seasonals, so. Because she would have said something. So that's cool. And I'll try to help out. Like I said, I have people calling me for day camp and all that kind of things. So I'll start seeing if we can find some seasonals for you guys as well.
Okay,
All right.
appreciate it.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terry Greetham, special events. Okay, Mr. Williams.
Good evening again, Board. Eric Williams on behalf of the Michigan City Special Events Department. I wanted to do a report tonight for a couple of reasons. The first one being that as a former Park Department employee myself, I know that we have a new assistant superintendent and new board member. And with the event requests coming in very soon for you guys, I just want to make sure that we bring everybody up to date with what we have going on. Additionally, because we rely so heavily on this department for support, that I think it's important that we keep an open line of communication between our departments. So last year at the July 5th meeting, we approved the dates for the 2024 Singing Sands Festival. We will be having that June 7th through June 9th in Washington Park. This is the third annual Singing Sands Festival. Last year in 2022, we had 6 food vendors and 12 art craft merchandise vendors. Last year, we doubled that to 12 food vendors and up to 19 art craft merchandise vendors. I can tell you at Oktoberfest, I did receive a bunch of inquiries regarding the Sand Sculpting Festival, so we're very optimistic that that number of 19 is going to grow this year. We also have the return of the charitable component of the Sands Festival, the Community Challenge. That's going to allow businesses to sponsor a 6-person team to get a little bit of hands-on training from the sand sculptors. They're going to go out there and create a sculpture, and it's actually going to be judged. The cost of participation for that is $2,000, and the entire $2,000 will be donated to local LaPorte County charities. The higher that your team places, the more money that your charity is going to get. So we will have more information on that coming out soon. Last year, we had 5 teams compete, and we had $5,000 donated to local charities. We do have the admission rate set for this year. It's going to be $5 for everyone, regardless of Michigan City resident or not. And children 6 and under are going to be free. Last year, we did a little over $13,000 in admissions on just Saturday. Unfortunately, on the Sunday, Mother Nature didn't want to have a sand sculpting festival, but despite the unseasonably low temperature and the constant 35+ mile an hour winds, we still had a couple hundred people come out and spend the day with us, so we still did pretty good on Sunday. As far as Oktoberfest, at the July 5th meeting, we approved those dates as well, of August 30th through September 2nd. This is also going to be the third one for us. 2022, we had 22 art craft merchandise vendors, 13 food vendors, and 40 bands perform. Last year, we doubled that to about 45 art craft merchandise vendors, 17 food vendors, and 50 bands. I can tell you the week of, we turned down probably another 15 to 20 art craft merchandise vendors, a couple food vendors, just because of the time it takes to process the contracts. We do have the music lineup for 2024 nearly finished, and we've already turned away probably 25 to 30 bands. So we a lot of interest in these events. We will be accepting the vendor applications for these events soon. I'm just working on getting everything finalized for the applications, and we'll be accepting those hopefully the next week or two here. But yeah, so we're optimistic that we are going to have a lot of growth in 2024. Just to give you an idea, we have 132 registered art craft merchandise vendors with us, 60 registered food vendors. Over the 2 years of Oktoberfest and Sands Festival, we've had approximately 75 bands who have performed with us. We're adding new performers in 2024, and just from entertainment all around, I'd say we've had about 150 different entertainment groups express interest with us. We've begun our sponsorship packages. Last year, we raised a little over $50,000, and we're very optimistic that we're going to get a lot more than that this year. All of our sponsors from last year have expressed interest in coming back, and we've got a couple meetings set up with some potential new ones. And then I just want to take a second to thank the admin staff who take tons of phone calls regarding our events, the parking staff who see an upflow of parking, obviously, the weeks we have the events, senior center and zoo who are involved in all of our events, and especially the park maintenance team who the week of the event, Pat had told me before, don't tell us how we can, or don't ask if we can help, tell us how we're going to help. And, the park maintenance staff is just integral to these events. So just want to give them a quick thank you.
Any questions? Thank you for that thorough report. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
We move on to Department of Finance. Mr. Glidden.
I have the claims docket for February 7th, 2024, municipal $88,659.69. That's the total claims, $88,659.69. And I would move that we meet the claims docket.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I have the payroll for number one for 2024, 12/24/23 through 1/6/24, pay date 1/12/24. The total payroll, $64,655.11. I would move that we accept the payroll.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I have the payroll for number two, 2024, for January 7th through January 20th, pay date January 26th. And the total payroll was $73,507.92. I would move that we accept this payroll.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed? Motion carries.
have no more in front of me, or do I?
Any gifts, minor transfer, zoo?
All right. I have the gifts and donations from Amber and Zachary Seiler. Zoo donation, memory John Sheets, $50. Michigan City Zoological Society, zoo donation, Zach Grant, $10,227.78. An unknown zoo donation, miscellaneous, $50. Weber Restore Dental Arts, donation, youth baseball sponsorship, $350. Unknown various zoo donation, online animal sponsors, $345.50. Unknown various zoo donation, online animal sponsors, $163.50. DeVries Tire, donation, youth baseball sponsorship, $350. Dan's Landscaping, donation for youth baseball sponsorship, $350. Well McLean, donation of pantries in the park sponsor, $204. I would move that we accept these generous gifts and donations.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Minor transfers, administration fund 2204.502, decrease amount contractual 3,000, increase the account legal services 3,000. I would move that we accept these minor transfers.
I'll second that, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Board of Works invoices totaling $26,604 are paid at the 2/6/24 Board of Works meeting to Kinney Machinery. Maintenance Z Master 96 deck mowers, $12,400. An overhead door company, golf replacement garage doors, $14,204. I would move that we approve this with the Board of Works.
Second that?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
I have credit card charges totaling $1,969.24 were paid to the corporate payment systems for the following: IN.gov, administrative 2024 entertainment permits, $405.40. Amazon.com for Will's office chair, $594.59. Amazon.com for Will's office desk, $688.49. OfficeMax.com golf, 2 dry erase boards, $42.78. Amazon.com Zoo gift shop barcode scanner labels, $154.97. Amazon.com refund that we received of $6.99. MC Chamber administrative community luncheon for Shannon and Will, $90. And I would move that we accept these credit card charges.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
I think I'm done. I'm sorry. I think I'm done.
Yeah. Comments from the public? Hearing none, do we have any closing comments from the park board or from Mr. Dabney? Hearing none, our next meeting will take place on Wednesday, February 21, 5 o'clock in this arena here. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.